Alright, we're leaving a McDonald's. It's, I don't know, 6 something. And Herbs and Rye came right from work, so he had to change. And while we were there, we ate Hawaiian Gardens, or the Gardens Casino. It's just a little bit that way. We're in the city of Hawaiian Gardens. I've never been here. This is just a room. It's not a casino. It didn't look anything like an actual casino.
Hawaiian Gardens is a city.
The street signs say City of Hawaiian Gardens. The one right over there. Below the street name, it says City of Hawaiian Gardens.
I still don't believe it.
Alright, well, it's not me, it's the sign that I'm going by. We're gonna play, I don't know, somewhere between 4 and 7 hours. And I'll get some of the inside if I can. I will definitely get you shots from the parking lot. And that's it for now. I'm way behind after that $1,400 day Herbs and Rye had yesterday, so not looking good, but I'm looking to win hands and things like that. You know, I just said something very telling off camera. What was that?
I was wrong. It's called Hawaiian Garden City.
Yep. And I figured that out by reading. So don't underestimate reading, everybody. Reading, you can learn a lot from reading. Alright, it's 3 minutes later. That's Hawaiian Gardens behind me, if you can kind of see a structure off in the distance. Herbs and Rye says no backpacks unless you're playing high stakes, which is $5 big blind, but we're not playing that anyway. So I don't want to bring my sling pack in. Probably can't film in there anyway because it's such a small space. I will try to take some still pictures, and maybe instead of the classic outro that I know all of you love, I'll just kind of go through like a slideshow of some of the still pictures I take in there. Meant to do that in Ocean's 11. They had a nice portrait on the wall of the original, not the remake, not the George Clooney Ocean's 11, the Sinatra Ocean's 11. Never got a picture of that though. So maybe take some cool pictures in there and show you at the end of the video. All right, it's about 2:20 a.m. We just played about 7 hours at the Gardens Casino. First, not to end the video, I did take some stills, so I'm going to give you some voiceover information about what's in there while showing you the still shots, and then I'm going to come back to give you the results. So here's the felt. This was while I was waiting, an empty table. There was no play on this table. This was a table that had plenty of play. $200 max, so a lot of all-ins, pre-flop, a lot of all-ins on the flop, just like this hand. We also had all-ins on later streets, ton of black chips on the table today. At one point we had $2,000 just in black chips. This is the board, not Bravo, so it might not be what you're used to seeing, but here was the board, and the woman running the board was going through the names very quickly. If you weren't there in like 5 seconds of hearing your name called, you didn't get the seat. They went to the next person. On one of the TVs way in the back with like SportsCenter on either side, somehow we got King of Queens on one of the TVs, and Seinfeld after that. Just some more pots. Seat 7 was in for like 4,000 or 5,000. He was going all in all over the place tonight. And this is just a view of the room. And over on the left, Herbs and Rye walking to the cage. But there is the layout at the Gardens. It's 2:33. I once again gained ground by losing. I was actually in for 600 pretty quickly. It's 200 max at the Gardens. So I was in for 3 buy-ins, 600 in pretty hilarious fashion. Actually, one hand I got away with. There's a lot of all-ins pre-flop, a lot of all-ins on the flop. I had ace-king one hand shoved. This guy tried to talk me into this weird thing about running it out even after he folded to try to hit the jackpot. And I'm just telling you this because we saw the full run out, and I would have lost trips versus boat, but he folded. Anyway, after that, I did get all in ace-king versus ace-3. I mean, I got in behind, but it was just a cooler flop. And then I lost with ace-king again to the same guy. I had ace-king, he had jack-10, a third drunk guy with rags who wasn't really important in that hand, had something. He was calling for a 3 the whole way. Jack-10 hit a 10 on the river. So I was in for 600, sitting on 200 at one point, so I was minus 400. I got back to 5 something, lost 36 on the day, and here's Herbs and Rye. And first of all, what was your result?
I lost 455.
All right.
It was my kind of game. I got in the game for 800, then got to plus 600, then lost a $2,000 pot. Had to rebuy. Ended up in the game for 1,400. I cashed out 955. So
Alright, so -4.
If I would have hit a flush draw in a pot where I was getting the right odds, Rice here would be buried. There'd be no coming back. I would have won over 2K on the session, but it's just how it goes sometimes.
I mean, I was pretty close to buried anyway, because when I changed to Herbs and Rye's table, yeah, he was like up 6, and at one point I was down 4, so it was looking pretty bad, and then I wound up gaining ground. We had a guy at the table who, he didn't seem to drink a lot. I saw him only have 4 beers, and they looked like Blue Moon, so nothing like real hardcore. He was out of it. He would lose, go to the cage, buy like $1,500 or $2,000 in $100 chips, and then come back and lose it 200 at a time. There was a point where I counted 20 $100 chips on the table, and they were all from his buy-ins, 200 at a time. So he was fueling the game. That guy was 2 to my left. The guy in between me and that guy was not much better at all. I got to the table. He actually won a $1,400 pot with second pair against the drunk guy, and then lost it all eventually. We saw a hand go 5 ways for $55. I think 5 ways for $42. I saw a $600 pot won with second pair. It was quite the table. My first game was better than your average Vegas table, but this was much better than that. That's why I switched over. And that is about it. We're driving back. Tomorrow is going to be Morongo. I've been there before. I was there once last year. For right now, I'll put the link at the top of last year's Morongo video, and a few more shout outs to end the video. I have this long list of shout outs, and let me get through them. There was the day at Bally's about a week, 2 weeks ago. Doug was on my right. We actually played once at MGM about a month or so ago. And Paul, I had never met Paul before. He was on my left. He sat, we played a couple of orbits, and then I got my table transfer. So I met both of them. 2 more. One, Greg from the Hamilton area in Ontario. I think I impressed you with my knowledge about the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I met Think Blue Poker also earlier today. He lives in the LA area. We've been talking on Twitter, and finally we met up. More casinos I'm playing this trip south of LA, but this was one of the ones actually very close to LA. So we happened to meet up. It was nice playing with you at the table, Think Blue Poker. And one more amazing shout out I'm going to leave for tomorrow. This guy, I was playing with him at the Westgate about 2 weeks ago, and he has a $560,000 score in a $25,000 buy-in tournament. So stay tuned for tomorrow. I will tell you who it was. And remember, rice is a spoon food.